What's going on, everybody? It is your host, Dr. Splash, and today's video wasn't really planned. This is more so a result of popularity. I dropped a review on why Deku vs. Miles Morales is a bloodbath, and some Deku fans have hope. They don't think Miles has the sauce like that. So here today, we are presenting the sauce, okay? This is a definitive scaling video. We're going to do it from best statements to best feats to best scaling to best wank. 4 different categories. I hope you guys enjoy this video. 400 plus likes if you want to see the definitive scaling series be consistent weekly throughout the channel. And yeah, without further ado, let's begin. First up, let's start with the statements portion. Spider-Verse event. 60s cartoon Spider-Man thought Miles Morales would actually be a lot older, given how well he handles himself. Spider-Man 2016. He is called in to deal with the Hulk, while Luke Cage and Jessica Jones were not. Captain America Steve Rogers. Cap, in a vision, saw Miles Morales killing him, and he doesn't deny that this very well could happen and be a possibility. Spider-Man 2016. He possesses and has dimensional hopping tech. Spider-Man 2016 as well. The effects of the spider bite he took presented him with not just one power, but many. In Spider-Man 2016, it's also important to note that statements do confirm he has yet to fully understand his powers, and his powers are very immature at this point. Spider-Geddon, he handled the Enigma Force, one of the strongest forces in creation, better and much more efficiently than Peter Parker did when he once wielded it. In Absolute Carnage, Brock says that the Venom Blast almost killed him when he got hit with it, which is stupidly impressive for modern day Venom. Miles Morales, Spider-Man run, we see that Peter accepts that Brooklyn is Miles' turf, which is a huge concession of land for someone like Spider-Man, who's protected the entirety of New York for his career. In the guidebooks as well, we see that he has the same power as Peter, knows all his moves, and has his own unique powers on top of that, which is bullshit, yes, but we know he has the plot armor. I've said this before. Getting into some of his more up-to-date runs and statements, as the avatar of Anansi and his, and if I mispronounce the name, my bad, okay? Fuck it, we ball. The original god of stories from an old ancient Vodo pantheon. The Weaver's stories, dreams, and destinies, Miles' powers all stem from this, and thus allows him to work as the avatar. In Spider-Man Miles Morales 29, Anansi is bare minimum a power rival to Bast, the Panther God, who of course sits on that ancient pantheon that includes the likes of Phoenix. Miles easily would have been one of the most fearsome Black Panthers if in another time he was of that lineage. Anansi now directly resides over Miles Morales' story as of the recent Miles Morales comic run. Miles is confirmed by Ares himself through his demigods to wield the power to make a god itself bleed, which he's obviously done before, and this is just confirmed. When faced with literal gods in the Tournament of Champions of Gods, Miles did not give a shit and showed out completely. Anansi won't let Miles Morales lose in the stories or die because he has past guilt of a fallen champion and avatar. Now, let's move on to best feats. This, of course, is usually the section that most people find to be the juiciest. Ultimate Universe, in his first ever showing, he slugged it out with a jobber named Kangaroo, who I will be the first to tell you kinda sucks, but hey, you gotta start somewhere. So if you fought first appearance, first issue Miles, that's the best argument for someone like Deku, of Deku's tier. But you'd still lose. Ultimate's Cataclysm event. He and his webs can stand the force of a singularity pulling on them. This same dimensional portal, for context, swallowed 616 Galactus, a stupidly broken feat for his webs. Secret Wars event. His webs stopped a massive horde of heroes from fighting each other, which was very impressive. Spider-Man 2016. He tanks a blast from Blackheart that knocks out Falcon, Captain America, and a few other of the Avengers. Blackheart, mind you, is the son of a literal fucking Helllord. Spider-Man 2016. His Venom Bite power he produces forces Blackheart to retreat. Spider-Man 2016. His Spidey sense seems to be a bit sharper than the other Spider-Men that are engaging around him. Spider-Man 2016. Blackheart puts Miles over big, as Miles might get moved into the highest of tiers when it comes to street tiers like the Spider-Man, which of course we know street tier is kind of bullshit, but he beats the shit out of a Helllord, beats the shit out of him and has the power to put him down. Spider-Man 2016. A blast that took out a Hulkbuster armor, Miles survived, and he was the first to awaken to tend to the injured, which is insanely impressive. Spider-Man Deadpool crossover. He was able to save Spider-Man from the clutches of Deadpool himself. In all new, all different Avengers, he was capable of catching Wasp and taking her out, which is incredibly impressive. Not, granted, Wasp scaling can be kind of shaky, but she does have crazy stuff dating back to the 70s. Civil War 2. He was able to one-shot a symbiote, with symbiotes having some of the crazier scaling of modern-day Marvel. In Civil War 2, he was also able to blitz the likes of Rocket Raccoon. Keep in mind, the Guardians regularly engage with assholes like Thanos, so this is incredibly impressive. Thunderbolts 2016. Bucky got the drop, or Winter Soldier, on Miles Morales, but Miles was still able to blitz him once they engaged. They weren't trying to kill each other by the time the fight starts, so it is kind of important to note for both. Spider-Man 2016. His dimensional portal tech was able to basically take him to DC Comics, which is implied in the panel once he's hopping around. In Secret Empire, in a story built entirely on a vision of Miles killing Captain America, everything leads them to the exact place the vision depicted them to be, but Miles decided to not kill Cap in this moment. You could argue this is possibly something that you could put Miles above Fate, and when you mix that with Anansi, that kind of makes sense, but I will leave that up to you guys to decide. Secret Empire. Casually. Passively. Easily. No fucking diff. Like, no sweat on his balls. Willingly took an action that, with an unquantifiable lack of giving a fuck, knocked out Taskmaster. Just rendered him fucking helpless. Yes, sometimes Taskmaster's a bum. Spider-Man 2. The Mega Venom Blast, or the Super Blast he sometimes uses, used to free them, did some damage to Peter himself, and he couldn't keep up with Miles and needed to let him go on ahead, which is incredibly impressive. Spider-Man 2. He tanks his own Venom Bite. Then Peter hit him, which is impressive for him to, to get up from as well. Both of them are long as shit to get hit with. Spider-Man 2. Venom Blast drops Taskmaster the second time, and Miles sent his ass flying with a punch. Spider-Man 1. Miles and Peter meet for the first time, and Miles at this point is still very young and immature in power, but still put Peter down with a Venom Bite, which was at that point more like a Venom Nibble. Spider-Man 1. Peter takes Miles' mask, and Miles hits him with a harder Venom Blast, which knocks Peter out for a while. Miles has to manipulate Peter's body to get them to safety. Spider-Man 1. While Peter was wrapped up in this universe, Miles gets past all of it and shuts it down. Like, basically, the shit that bothers Peter, he wasn't going for and gets through it. Spider-Man 1. Miles' Venom Bite puts down 616 Mysterio when Peter's punch couldn't. Spider-Man 2016. Mega Venom Bite has an insane area of effect, much different than his regular strikes. So for those nerds that need the AoE, there you go. Spider-Man 2016. It's important to note, everything we've shown up to this point was from incredibly immature Miles in terms of his abilities and powers. Spider-Man 2016, he was able to one-shot the Hobgoblin. Spider-Man 2016, he also was able to put down Morbius. In Shuri, his webs can withstand black hole gravity, which will kind of be consistent to what we showed before. In Shuri, again, his webs resisted another black hole, giving us even more black hole feats. Miles Morales, his super mega Venom Blast made Rhino tap out and quit. Mind you, regardless of how you feel about Rhino, He's taken on the likes of Silver Surfer. This is incredibly impressive. This is a character that's typically insanely durable. And Miles Morales, he was able to neg a mind hacks that stunned Cap. And Steve also lost to this character that they were facing off with, which is more impressive for Miles. In Miles Morales' run, he also shows a massive energy blast, basically similar to a Hadouken, which is incredibly scary to have to deal with. In Venom 2018, Venom lost control for a moment, and Miles decided to beat the shit out of him, which is impressive given we know in Venom in modern times is amped up to fight characters like Null. In Venom 2018, Miles hit Null's avatar with an absolute haymaker from hell and puts him down. Absolute carnage. He was able to break free from a horde of symbiotes and managed to rock the absolute shit out of Carnage. In Spider-Verse 2019, he was able to one-tap an alternate version of Kraven, which should roughly scale to Kraven. You can kind of decide for yourself. In Miles Morales, he defeats a clone meant to be better than him in every way. He was able to, later on in his own Miles Morales run, beat up Deadpool and Deadpool's daughter while he himself was distracted by Anansi. He's also, as stated by Deadpool, to have done this multiple times. He endured getting thrown through realities and crossing the threshold, according to Anansi, which you could imply means crossing to stories entirely. He was able to evade a herald of a god Anansi hadn't revealed yet, which we later see to be Ares. Anansi can also warn him of bad things as of his recent run, including warning him of entire stories and story arcs. Miles was able to fight a herald of the same tier that respects Anansi, so basically he fought the herald of Ares or a herald of Olympus. He was also able to endure this herald's blast and was not damaged by it. Miles went on to blitz with a max venom punch, absolutely drawing blood. This blast, for reference, absolutely eviscerated a massive part of the building, and obviously it would go through even more as it's drawn. So it's kind of hard to argue Miles ain't a big hitter, because the biggest arguments I've seen against him is they don't like the amount of AoE stuff, and that did nothing to him. He starts dragging this herald with Deadpool and ignores story breaking jokes while doing it. And eventually, using a Mega Venom Blast punch, as well as with Deadpool by his side, he puts down the herald. It is revealed, and it's shown to be true, that Ares himself was empowering her to try to kill the likes of Miles. He was able to absolutely crack the Warwind, who is empowered by and wielding great ancient magics that even Anansi notes. He endures all-out hits from the Warwind until Thor himself arrives. The same wind is called Really Strong by Hercules and confirms he's amped, as it literally pushes back Hercules. This Warwind stayed conscious from hits from immortal Thor and Hercules at the same time, and blood was not drawn. So that just shows how fucking strong this guy was that Miles was brawling with. He was later able to dance on an amped demigod and calls him an absolute idiot in the middle of the battle. He also was able to endure a labor of Hercules, massive Stygian birds, or whatever the fuck you call them, created by Ares themselves, crafted to kill gods. They literally scale to gods. He was also able to take down these birds that can kill gods, and with the help of the demigod, was able to combat all of them. These birds scale above vibranium itself, as his Miles suit in his Miles Morales recent run now is 100% weaved with vibranium to help him control his power. He then goes on to best the birds with a power punch. Let's move on to best scaling. He's hurt every major symbiote during the King in Black Null arc, which is incredibly impressive with Null scaling. Miles can be scaled above some of the best skilled combatants in Marvel, which includes Hydra Captain America, essentially a bloodlusty Captain America, Taskmaster, and Winter Soldier. He can consistently be scaled to or above Peter, including at his weakest points, due to numerous encounters, statements, and feats. In Spider-Man 25, his suit is confirmed to now be weaved with vibranium to help him control his power, thanks to his visit to Wakanda to heal his vampire bite. Spider-Man 29, Anansi calls Bast his sister and forces Miles to compete to prove he's a worthy Avatar. He battles the realm where Varney controls the vessel of Black Panther. He dodges Bloodlusted Panther's attacks while arguing as well. Miles is at a disadvantage versus Vibranium, but still did not take damage in his fight against Panther. Miles is capable of fighting beyond time and space, even on the soul level. Miles gets right up from getting thrown through literal comic book panels and stories by Anansi. Miles also goes on to endure his own horrors of his past and soul. It's confirmed he's massively evolved since his start as a character in terms of power and actual characterization. Miles endures the trials of the storyteller set upon him by Anansi. Miles also begins to understand how the story truly works and how his story works. Miles proves worthy of the avatar of the god of stories. Anansi also casually bullied the demon that controls T'Challa, which overrode Bast's control. Anansi tells Bast to shut the fuck up and also says that she has no domain over Miles, the herald and champion of the story. Anansi now directly resides over Miles. Anansi can also summon immortal Thor, who is very wary of the power of this god. Anansi is also not afraid of any of the other gods that are members of the Godhead. Ares begins to enlist dogs of war to kill Miles, empowering them with his own ancient power, which includes fallen demigods. Ares promises full divinity for killing Miles and grants the ancient winds back to do so. Anansi can also warn Miles of upcoming stories, story arcs, and problems. Anansi accepts the bid for him and Miles to join the Tournament of Gods, which allows Miles to get even more Herald scaling. Avatars amped by Anansi can endure hits from beings whose strength nearly rival Hercules, according to Hercules himself. In issue 34, he was able to pretty easily dodge a storm manipulated by Storm herself, who in modern times is fucking broken. He goes untagged in this encounter, by the way, and becomes friends with Storm after this. Let's move on to Best Wank. Spider-Verse event. He could sense cutscene sequences in the cartoon universe of Spider-Man, which is pretty fucking crazy. Secret Wars event. Remembers the universe as it was before Battle World was made. Retcons don't affect his memory. Secret Wars event. The knowledge he held in his mind drove all the telepaths nearly insane and shocked all the heroes around him. In the Gwenpool story, he was able to beat Gwenpool herself. All new, all different Avengers, he was able to engage and dodge attacks from Annihilus. And it's implied his story is weaved with others in order for him to win. So basically, if you don't scale above Anansi, Anansi can just will the story to favor Miles, which he's proven and stated to do countless times due to his guilt of his prior champion dying. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are you surprised by how strong Miles is? Given his connection to an ancient primordial storytelling god, one that respects Loki himself. In my opinion, with that reveal, I don't think you should be so shocked at what he can do. And obviously, I still maintain the stance. He would beat the dog shit out of Deku. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been your host, Dr. Splash. Let me know which character should be featured next on the definitive scale. And remember, it's Yancey Street, bitches.